So I recently played this level and it basically just makes you play as the bread, which I thought was pretty funny. So today I'm going to be teaching you guys exactly how to do it so that you can, maybe play as an extreme demon face or, an easy face or whatever you want. And actually going to work for all the game modes, which is pretty cool. So let's just get straight into it. So the very first thing you want to do is, let's say you want to play as this block right here. And the reason why I'm choosing a block is because it's a bit harder to do. So we're gonna go ahead. By the way, my tutorials are always super beginner friendly, so smash the subscribe and let's go. So we're gonna give this a new group ID by going to here and assigning it, for example, 1. And then the very first step is we want to add an advanced follow trigger. You're gonna find it over here, and then simply just click on edit object while having it selected. Over here, just type in 1 and then P1. What this will do is make this object, which has the group ID of 1, constantly follow the player, which is exactly what we want. So now if you guys begin, you guys are gonna see that perfect, this guy is always onto us, but there's still a lot to be done. So yeah, let's just get into it. Now you could go in here and do rotate direction, which is basically gonna follow the rotation of the player, but honestly you guys can see that that's not optimal. It's not what we want. This thing just doesn't work as intended. So we're actually gonna have to use a second trigger, which is, we're gonna be using like very simple triggers for this one. Proceeds to use the most complicated trigger. Now, this trigger is so complicated, but or very simple uses, like making something follow you, like it's just pop 1 priority. Okay, so now you want to add the rotate trigger, and you want to go ahead and click on edit object, and then target group ID is going to be 1, and then we're going to make it follow the player 1. Now, this is where you usually type in the target ID, but if you do P1, it's basically going to do it P1 in here. Just like in the move trigger, if you do that, yeah, never mind, in here it doesn't work, but in here it actually shows you P1. So in here it should say P1, but it's a bit buggy now, but it is set to P1, so that's all we need. And now make this really large, and now you guys will see that nothing is happening. Why? Because what we're trying to do is we want it to constantly follow the player's rotation, right? Because if you're like, we quickly add a timer trigger just so that I can make you guys understand what's going on. So you guys can see that the rotation of the player is constantly changing. So we want to always match that rotation. So to do that, we can use the dynamic mode. And this actually also gives us an easing, and also this button, which if you click, is going to make it infinite, which means it's going to basically follow the rotation of the player constantly, every single frame forever, which is exactly what we want. So now you guys can see that my boy is starting to come to life. So I'm just going to go ahead and build some cool stuff. Hey, hold up. What if I like make a gameplay out of spikes? I think that would be pretty good. We're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do that, and then we're just gonna copy and paste it and do this. And I'm gonna teach you guys how you can land on these guys too, just on top of that. But now the problem is, if you disable this one, you're instantly going to die, which is not cool. So if you're using an object with a hitbox, by pressing F5, you're gonna see the hitbox, or on the phone, you just show hitboxes. You wanna select it, go to edit group, extra, and then no touch. This will basically get rid of the hitbox, which is awesome. But now the spikes kill us, which is not very awesome. So we want to select those. Also, we don't want any hitbox on them so that they don't touch. And now we basically just have to fill them in with fake hitbox. That's how we call it over here. So I'm just gonna go ahead. I think this one is a fitting thing, and then right here should be like that. Okay, that's a fitting hitbox. You guys can like see the hitbox if you just go ahead and make it like, you see in here, it's like blue hitbox, but we're gonna bring it back to here just so that we can see. Okay, so now this one, just go in here and make it hide, and yeah, disable the hitboxes, and now you're gonna land on it, which is just awesome. Okay, now let's actually hide our actual player because we don't want any issues, right? We don't want to have any overlapping sprites. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add an options trigger, and I'm gonna hide P1, and that's basically just gonna hide the player. And oh my god, this is starting to look pretty good. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and make a quick pillar over here. Thing is, I don't want to make this this look bad, so I think oh yeah, this looks really good. Okay, I'm gonna do like no touch again, and again we're gonna add a block, no touch, no, not no touch. We're gonna make it hide. By the way, if you want to see hidden objects, it's F6 on your keyboard, and this is beautiful. So now we're at the block, but what if you wanna be, let's say you wanna be this guy, right? What do you do? Well, you can just add him and make this one P1. You just added P1, and now you can see that you're literally playing as that guy. And there's a bit more to this. For example, if you wanna, let's say you wanna add some hair to him, so let's just make some hair. I would say I think that's a pretty good idea. So I'm gonna use this sprite. I'm just gonna like do whatever now just to show you guys. So we're gonna give it a color ID, which is gonna be that. Actually, let's just give it a crown. How about we just give my boy over here a crown? I don't want to make this too complicated, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give him like this thing, and we're gonna make it yellow. I think that's a pretty good idea. Now, if you guys make this one as well, you guys are gonna see that it's just dislocated and it's not exactly what we want. So to fix this, you want to make sure that the center object, which in our case is this face, has a parent ID. So the one, you want to add the P to it, and only one single object in the entire level can have this P. So if I add this one and make it P, you guys will see that this guy is no longer P. So we want to make sure that there's only one single object, and now you guys can see that it is beautiful, except not really. Why? Because though the position works, the rotation doesn't, and that's because the rotation trigger, we need to rotate it around one as well. So every time there's a center group ID, or for example in the static trigger there's this one, and you use the number 1, it's basically going to refer to the parent, which in our case is this one. So this is the center where we want to, this looks so good, where we want to basically rotate our thing. So now it doesn't really matter. You can like let's add some hands to my guy over here. We're gonna make some hands by rotating them like that, and then like this. I'm gonna scale them, and then we're gonna just make them, okay, I don't want them to be too big, so I'm gonna do this and then that, and now we're just gonna make them ID 1, and now he is simply going to be like that. This is beautiful. So what else can you do with this? Let's just try it out with different game modes. You can go to the platformer mode even, and he works pretty fine. The only thing is that he doesn't scale. So if you go ahead and make these touch trigger, and this one as well, actually, you guys are gonna see that our player actually scales up and down. And RobTop, you're probably not gonna be watching this, but it would be cool to have a follow scale in here using this one in here maybe somehow. But I would assume that's a bit hard to add, but I think it gets the job done. So now you can have your own player. Looks very cool. You can go up and down, and you can even slide on spikes because we made it a slope. You can even do bowl, which looks phenomenal, I'm not gonna lie. So you can pretty much do any design you want to make it your player. You can just go ahead and make it a spider. Spider doesn't rotate, which is why it looks a bit weird, but the jetpack, for example, also looks very nice. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add a quick like trail behind him, and this is not gonna be anything special. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do some random stuff. So we're gonna do the settings like that, and we're gonna go ahead and bring all of these values to 0. I'm gonna do a bit of a trail, and then we're gonna do relative. This is very, very important. And now just make it big so that it fits the player, and a bit bigger, and that looks pretty good. Let's do 50. Oh yeah, how about we also add a featured ring around this guy? Actually, I'm not gonna do that. I am not gonna do that. Okay, now we do 1, and now let's also make it blue. Why not? Because the guy is blue, and I like to have the secondary color a bit brighter so that it leaves off this white circle, which is just phenomenal. Just a small trick about the particle system, a bit of a cheat code that you can use. And now you guys can see that this guy has a trail, which looks awesome, but not awesome enough. Why? Because you always need to make sure that once you played around with this, or this, you want to make sure that you always click on calculate. And what this is going to do is just recalculate the emission amount, and now just scale this up by 1. You can scale it by 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. What really matters is that you just scale it, and I'm just going to do 1 just so that it doesn't because we don't need more than one, right? And now we have a beautiful trail. And if you want to make it shorter, just go ahead and do that. Calc, because we changed it, and 50 is the next number. And now the trail looks phenomenal. And I can't believe this looks so cool. We made a really cool thing using 46 objects, and yeah, it's functional and it's pretty cool. So let's just give it a try in normal mode and see how that is going to look like. I'm just going to go ahead and mute the song because I already know this is going to be very loud. But yeah, here we go. We have this looks so good. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I guess that's it for this tutorial. It was very simple, a very quick one, but now you guys can make custom sprites, whether it was for classic mode or for platformer mode, so that your player can have a custom looking icon on him. So yeah, W y'all, make sure to slap the like. Also, I would highly recommend you watch one of those playlists that is on the screen right now, and I will see you guys over there.